Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be explaining to you how I exercise with POTS. I get this question a lot and I've never really found a good way to answer it. So today I figured I would answer this question as well as kind of explain to you how you can actually exercise with POTS. I know a lot of people think that you can't, and actually that's wrong, because if POTS is one of those things, if you decondition, it actually makes it worse, and by not exercising, you're deconditioning yourself. And that was one thing. When I got sick last year, I was doing Zumba 5 days a week, and at first I didn't notice it, and then about 2 months in, when I started getting really sick, that's when I started to notice it. I was getting dizzy when I was exercising. I was having a hard time actually keeping up, and that was not me. I was usually right there next to them, if not a little bit ahead. And I was usually modifying to make things harder, and then slowly I had to start modifying to make things easier. So today I'm going to share with you how to exercise with POTS, as well as some tips and tricks and kind of just general guidelines that you probably need to do anyway. But before we jump into this video, hit the red subscribe button down below if you've not done so already. Give this video a thumbs up if you like content like this, and let's just jump right in. Okay, so basically, to get started, I had already kind of mentioned that I was, prior to, I had POTS since I was 16. I was undiagnosed until this January, but I didn't really ever experience the exercise intolerance really bad until April of 2021, and I kind of touched on this already, but that's when I noticed that my body was slowly becoming exercise intolerant, and that was actually one of the main things that set my doctor off to even think it was POTS, because I had doctors tell me, well, you can keep exercising, or tell me that I needed to exercise. So I just kind of kept doing it, and I was slowly while I was losing my ability to work out, I was working out anyway, and I was just modifying my workouts, if that makes any sense at all. But I think that's what helped me a lot, is that prior to actually becoming exercise intolerant for the most part, because there were some days I just couldn't exercise at all. There were some days I couldn't get out of bed. So until becoming exercise intolerant, I worked out 5 days a week for 5 years. Yes, and I think that's what helped me a whole lot, is that my body was used to exercising, and the doctors kind of have agreed with that at this point, that if I wouldn't have been exercising, I probably wouldn't have been able to recover and get back to where I'm at as quickly as I have. And that's what with the help of my medication changes and my increased fluid intake and my increased salt intake, I have noticed that I do feel a little bit better, and I can actually do Zumba again, and I can actually exercise. There are some things I can't do still, but I think I'm going to slowly build back up to where I was before I even got sick. It's just going to take some time, because I spent so much time, because I dropped down so far and deconditioned so much, I have to build back up. It's I have to rebuild my stamina, I have to rebuild what my body knew, and I have to retrain my heart to actually not go crazy when I'm doing this stuff. And before anybody asks, yes, my doctors completely encouraged me to continue to work out. Some of them, I had one doctor that said, just take it easy. And I knew you could exercise with POTS when I first was looking up the research and doing all that, but I could never find anybody around here who understood it. So I was on my own. I'm in Kentucky. There are no POTS specialists here. There are no special exercise program specialists around here that are trained in POTS protocols. And there are two POTS protocols for exercise. One is the CHOP protocol and one is the Levine protocol. I'll leave those links down below because I have researched those, but because there isn't anybody around here who understands them, I'm kind of on my own when it comes to exercise. And I think that's kind of why I'm going to make this video, because how I exercise with POTS is generally I go in and I would do what I wouldn't typically do. I just modify a little bit more than what I would have done before getting this diagnosis or before even getting sick. Because I hardly ever modified, if at all. And then when I got sick, everything I did was a modification. And now I'm slowly building back up to, I don't have to modify as much, but I still have to modify and take it slow. So that's what I kind of mean when I'm talking about I have to build back up to where I was. And I might not ever get there, but at least I'm actually exercising and doing something. And there is stuff I can't do. I cannot do HIIT workouts. I cannot do high intensity workouts. I can do Zumba with burst because not every part of it is high intensity. But the high intensity stuff kicks my butt, and I usually do have to modify that a little bit. But regular Zumba, I can do step. I just got my riser back after almost a year. I put my riser back underneath in there. Sometimes I still have to modify with that, and I can do Zumba toning, but Zumba burst still kicks my butt. I think it's the high intensity stuff, because I tried a high intensity boot camp on DVD that I have, and I cannot do that. It freaking killed me. I don't know how I made it through the end and was still standing. Because the entire time I was shaking and I was really sick and I was dizzy, and I shouldn't have pushed myself, but I did anyway because that's just who I am. Okay, so that's enough about me and how I exercise with POTS. So I'm going to give you like 4 or 5 tips and tricks on how to do this, and I'm also going to give you, like, some of them are tips and tricks. Like, number 1 is check with your doctor or your physical therapist before you start like an exercise program, even if it is one of the POTS protocol programs. Check with your doctor beforehand. Like, I checked with my doctor before I started working out again at full speed, and he said take it easy and try not to do anything alone. And that was one thing. I work out in a group fitness class. I don't really have to worry about exercising alone. But he's like, just in case you pass out. Number 2 is know what level of exercise you are on. And I know this sounds crazy, and a lot of people aren't going to know what I'm talking about. And I honestly didn't know there were different levels either. So I'm going to put her Instagram handle on the screen. That way I don't butcher it. But there are 3 levels of exercise or exercise tolerance levels in POTS, and the first one is like recline movements, like when you're laying in bed or sitting in bed. Level number 2 is like recumbent cardio, like rowing, a recumbent bike, swimming, and weight training. And I do have, before I even got sick, I was working out using a chair. So I do have like a chair workout, which is basically level number 2. And then level 3, what I'm at right now, is normal workouts, walking, jogging, running, HIIT, cycle, that kind of stuff. So that is the 3 levels of exercising and exercise tolerance with POTS. And usually you know where you're at based off what you can do. Like, if you can't stand up, you're probably not you're not level 3, and you're probably not even level number 2, because I don't know how I was doing level 3 exercises when I was a level 1, and I think that's what helped me so much get back get back to where I am so quickly because I wasn't aware of the levels of exercise until like a month or two ago. And I realized, okay, so when I was like level number 1 and level number 2, I was basically killing myself to do level number 3. Okay, number 3 is monitor yourself and listen to your body, because you listen to your body anyway when you have a chronic illness, especially POTS. But when you're exercising, you really have to do this. You really have to listen to your body and know what it needs and know what it wants, because it will tell you when to stop. At least for me, mine does. Like, at the end, before I got all my medications and before I was coming back to normal, I was getting maybe 10 minutes of a workout in. 5 to 10 minutes. And that's when I was done. So if you listen to your body, you know how long you can last and when you can build up and all that. And I'm going to tell this, heart rate is not a good indicator of exercise and how you're doing when you have POTS, because your heart rate is just all over the place. I don't remember what it's called, but the talk chart, like 1 through 10, if you can't talk at all, then you need to slow yourself down. That thing, if I can remember the name of it, I'll put it somewhere on the screen. Number 4 is start slowly and then gradually work up. Like, had I known this, I wouldn't have been exercising at all when I was sick, but my doctors told me to. They just kept saying, oh yeah, you're fine to exercise, there's nothing wrong with it, you're just fine to exercise, even though I couldn't do it, and they knew that. So if you're not exercising, start slow, like start level 1, level 2, and then gradually work your way up based off what you can do and your strength and your stamina and all that. And you don't have to start with a 30-minute workout. I know everybody talks about starting with a 30-minute workout. If you can handle 5 to 10 minutes, that's enough. If you can do that 3 times a day, it's even better. But just start slow and then work your way up. Don't start at level 3 and kill yourself. Because that's what I did wrong. I was at level 3 when I got sick, and I just kept going at level 3 just with modifications and slowing it down, and by the time it got to October of last year, I just couldn't anymore. Because I was pushing myself too hard with something that I shouldn't have been doing anyway. And number 5, which is probably the most obvious thing, stay hydrated. When you exercise, no matter what, stay hydrated, especially when you have POTS, because if you're like me, if I get dehydrated, I can't do anything. And if I'm dehydrated when I'm exercising, I really can't do anything, and I'm probably going to pass out. So number 5 is kind of like an obvious, but stay hydrated. So that's my 5 tips and tricks, as well as how I exercise with POTS. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And other than that, thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.